Hello everybody, welcome back. This is the start of a series that I've been looking to do for a long time on the channel. I find businesses and stocks that I may or may not own that have passed their glory years and are looking to get back to those golden years. This is basically if I was appointed the CEO right now, what are the immediate actions that I would do to bring that business back to glory? I take a look at the business's current nature right now, what made them successful at one point, and some of the steps that I would do right now to bring them back. Today we're going to be looking at Target. Now, Target is a company that is in my portfolio probably the weakest business that I own right now. This video is coming out because Target recently went down 20% in a single day, once again due to poor earnings and management messing up their inventory. Ever since 2020, Target has not been able to fully get back on their feet. Whether it's constant inventory mismanagement, a weakened consumer, inflation, or having a heavy stance with the LGBT community, let's just say. For full transparency, I still do own Target stock, and I'm down 13% on the holding right now. It's one of the smaller holdings in the portfolio, and I own about like $800 worth of it right now. So it's not the biggest loss ever, but still, this is a business that I want to see succeed. So today, I'm going to be appointing myself the new Target CEO, and I'm going to be fixing Target. On to the video.
Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus.
Please, it's too much winning.
Reindeers pulling on.
Hello, I like money.
Alright, so let's talk about what Target's actual business is. To start off, Target's just a standard retailer. There's nothing crazy about the business. It's pretty easy to understand on a base level. They buy a product, they resell it for more, and that's how they make their margins. Now, I understand a lot of people find that very unattractive to invest in, and I understand. Target offers more of a premium experience for the shopper. Often you'll find higher middle class to wealthier people going to Target. These people usually have a higher basket items. In the most recent years, Target has seen that middle class consumer kind of slow down on those basket items and not buying those really profitable discretionary items that Target usually makes their bank on. Target is strictly a North American company. They've tried international expansion and have failed pretty badly. They tried going into Canada. Essentially, their strategy was just way too aggressive. It was a bad plan to get in there to begin with. Supply chain was horrible, so a lot of people just couldn't get the products that they wanted when they had to get Target in Canada. It was just really bad, to sum it up. So this is strictly a North American play right now. If you want to do international expansion, you'd really have to go conservatively into another geographic area. I'd start off once again with Canada if they wanted to retry that. If they wanted to go overseas, I'd start with Canada though. I think you'd have to invest a lot of time, energy, and effort into a proper plan and go more conservative than aggressive. A majority of the company's revenue basically is coming from America, so it's very important that you have good terms with your own country here. And you got to understand this is an American-based business you're investing in if you're looking for the profit. Now I want to talk about Target's history before I get into like what I would do as the CEO and some of the issues that they've been dealing with over the last 5 years. So typically when you want an investment and you want to own a business, you want it to be pretty smooth. Like I look at some of my top holdings right now in the portfolio. Companies like Visa, Visa hasn't really faced anything horrible in the last 5 years. It's been pretty much smooth sailing. You want companies that are smooth sailing, not a lot of inconsistency, but you want companies that when they have inconsistencies, they can learn from it and rebound and get better from it. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear Target has really done that over the last 5 years. You can just see how inconsistent it has been. And if you invested Target 5 years ago, you would have nearly a 5% return, not including the dividends. If you would have just bought the S&P 500, you would have nearly a 90% return. Let me just get this out of the way. Target is absolutely a value play. If you're looking for growth with Target, I don't think you're going to find it. I'm going to obviously talk about expansion, but it matters where you buy this company. But value is one of the best ways you can get your return in stocks. And if you would have bought a company like Target when it was undervalued, in my opinion, back last year, you would have nearly a 58% return, as you see. But Target, unfortunately, has just not had a straight path as the last 5 years, which is extremely frustrating if you've been investing in this company. To start off, we'll start off with COVID. COVID obviously had a giant impact on like every company in the entire world. They had a 20% decline because of COVID. Really nothing permanent though, as you could see, as we had a stupid clown market in 2021. And this is absolutely insane. Target saw a crazy increase in their sales basically from those stimmy checks that Donnie T was handing out. It was basically free money at the time, and a lot of people were buying more discretionary items that they really didn't need. Target saw a crazy run, going up 183% at their peak. And it's crazy to say, but 4 years ago, Target stock was trading near $270. Within the span of a year, Target pretty much doubled their free cash flow. For a company as mature as Target is, doubling your profits like that is absolutely insane, and the stock got rewarded with it. But a lot of people didn't realize that this bump would be temporary for their financials, and their stock went up 183% as I mentioned. Their financials were inflated just because of how much people were spending at the time. Eventually they had a pretty healthy correction back to around $200, but Target shareholders were not complaining. They'd seen crazy returns still if they bought the COVID dip and bought before. But then in May 2022, the stock went down 40% in one single trading day. I still remember I was sitting in class and I opened up Seeking Alpha and I just saw the Target was down 40% and I'm like, oh boy. The giant reason for the collapse in earnings was inventory mismanagement. So essentially Target actually thought that these inflated numbers that people were spending would be their permanent numbers going forward, and they just overordered on everything and they had a lot of dead inventory. This horrible inventory management basically had a lasting effect on the company for the next 2 years. Target's free cash flow even dropped into the negative for a little bit and had a lot of investors worried. The stock traded around the $150 levels as the company tried rebounding from this inventory mismanagement and worked their way to free cash flow being in the positive for once. June of 2023 happens to be Pride Month, and Target essentially did a huge political blunder. Now, this was a pretty funny time to be alive, and I think it was more actual sentiment that changed rather than the business's fundamentals, which was the huge reason that I was buying this dip. Target was the attacks of many Republican and far-right media agencies on Twitter and supporters as well, and thought a loss in market cap actually meant a loss in profits as well. What happened was that Target may have overdone it a little bit with the entire Pride section in the Pride Month. People didn't like how it also kind of marketed towards kids as well. Personally, I think it's a stupid thing to get mad about. I think there's bigger issues in the entire world than caring about what a retailer sells to people. Combine this with the ridiculous inflation as well that we were seeing during this time, and it was just not a good recipe for Target. Target also reported their first loss in sales in 5 or 6 years as well, and that was just an entire coincidence because inflation, people weren't buying as many discretionary profitable items from Target. Happens to be the same time as this whole scandal was going on. It was just not good timing at all. This led to Target trading near $100. It was a great time to be alive. If you were investing during this time, your entire thesis basically was that this would just pass by and that it would be forgotten, which completely happened. And you saw a 58% return when Target got back to $160, $170 until recently. Target has had the most normal 9 months basically since this has happened, and it's been a nice time to own the company. Until last week, where the company dropped 20% in one day because of earnings. Now, something that I think is funny is that Target missed revenue by 1% and they missed earnings per share by 20%. Now, Tesla did the same exact thing and the company went up 20%, while Target goes down 20%. It's funny how that works. But once again, it was another inventory mismanagement. What happened was that during the port workers' strike a few months back, Target basically overordered on everything. They thought that this would be a lasting issue, which clearly it was not, and Target once again overordered on everything, and inventory is messed up for them again. Thank you to Dan Weston for pointing this out to me, because I didn't initially have the time to see it in their earnings report. I was on an airplane when I found out that the stock was down 20%. Management has appeared to become a huge issue when it comes to this company, and just its constant blunders. Consistency has not been a thing that you've been seeing with Target as of recently, and the one time that it's had some consistency and some positive momentum going for them, staying out of the news, no new scandals or anything, they mess it up again. So here's what I would do if I was appointed Target CEO right now. Alright, I've just been appointed as Target CEO, I'm making $40 million a year, and life is good, but I need to fix this business. So what is the first thing that I'm doing to turn this business around right now, day one? To start off, I'm going to reevaluate and fire the people that are currently in charge of the logistics at Target and the inventory mismanagement. I would look to bring in people from Costco or Walmart because they've clearly done a better job than Target recently of taking care of their inventory. But in all seriousness, if you look at Target's blunders over the last 5 years and really what's been that weight kind of on their ankle holding them back from swimming back to surface, it's been the inventory, and that's been a consistent issue for this and it needs to be addressed. Currently, the lady that's in charge of it is Gretchen McCarthy. She graduated from Cornell in hotel administration. So Gretchen,
A terrible job. You've been terrible at everything you've done. You're ultra liberal and we don't want you here. We don't want you anywhere.
Gretchen!
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
In all seriousness, she needs to go. She's been a constant blunder for them. She's been with Target since 2004, so there's really no excuse if you're new to the job or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely look at a company like Costco or Walmart to find a new person to bring in, whether it's somebody at the head of those departments right now or somebody that's kind of an apprentice right now or somebody that's lower up that's been watching them do it for a while now and knows how the operation works. That's the main thing that I would do right now if I were appointed the Target CEO. Next, I would continue cost cutting. Now, some positive news for Target is that recently they've been actually cutting costs on prices. Now, I think one of the big ways here that you're going to have to compete with companies like Walmart and Amazon and kind of dig into their market share and, be competitive still is by offering value to customers. Target's main customer base is higher middle class and high class people. But I think if Target can eat into the market share of lower middle class and middle class people, I think that would be hugely beneficial for them because those people are going to Walmart and other grocery chains right now for their items. Target was the first of any of these companies to start reducing prices on items. Essentially, they're betting on that people will be buying more quantity of items that will make up for the profit loss that they're eating when they're cutting the prices on these items. I think it's a good bet to take, and long term it will pay dividends for Target, literally and figuratively. This is something that they have been doing recently, and I would probably get a little more aggressive with it as well as we kind of enter this Christmas season. This is where the video starts to get fun, is where I actually kind of redesign and reshape the business. Third, I would clean up stores and consistently. Now, something that I have consistently seen of people complaining about when it comes to going to Target is that it's just a complete mess. This comes from people on Twitter talking actual family members and friends. Too often actually, you go into a Target and you just see items scattered all around. It's hard to find your items. Items are locked up. First of all, this negative sentiment isn't helping your business whatsoever. With the power of social media, people will complain and it will have a giant ripple and domino effect. Second, the only reason that people are coming into Target mainly for the first place and your competitive advantage is the clean and premium shopping experience that you claim to offer. I feel that has been lost in the last 5 years with Target. This is a real qualitative decline that they've had recently, and it's something that needs to be addressed. They are quite literally losing in what made them special in the first place. They need to rather offer more incentive or pay employees more and just get it to them that they need to have cleaner and more organized stores. You can't have one store be really nice in the nice part of town and then have one really shitty store in the bad side of town. It just needs to be consistent all throughout. Once again, you're going to have to achieve this by offering employees better incentives, pay, and just kind of drilled into them that, hey, we need the consistency here. Next, I would work to create a unique ambiance throughout the stores that has people coming back. Now, what I would personally do here is I would study some of the best performing casinos in the world, and I would try and see what they do to have their customers stay in longer. Obviously, gambling is different from shopping, but the principle is the same here. Casinos have very attractive and great smelling locations. They have no clocks throughout the place, no windows. They have visual and auditory stimulation, stuff that just offers short-term dopamine that keeps you in. Obviously, casinos do free alcohol, but maybe for Target, you can do free samples or some sort of food that you're doing. Convenient placement of amenities. Casinos will actually pump in different scents and oxygens and smells that just smells great. You can't tell me when you walk into a casino, you take that first smell and it just smells amazing. Target needs to somehow do that. So if I were Target, I would be taking the casino approach to every single one of their stores. And once again, it needs to be consistent here. You need to pump in some sort of oxygen, smells, something to get your stores just to be completely addicting to walk into. And I would even argue that they somewhat have that right now, but they can take it to the further level, and that's what I would do if I were the CEO. Hell, you could even change up the scents too, depending what time of the year it is. Obviously right now it's Black Friday, Christmas time, you can have some sort of pine scent. Then during the fall, spring, you know what I mean. It's just continuous, and eventually it'll be a reoccurring theme, and that'll lead to reoccurring revenue. People want to come to Target during the Christmas time for the certain ambiance they have. You need to build that and kind of do what Starbucks already does and have some sort of reoccurring revenue there. They could look at hiring some sort of psychologist or something to potentially, kind of give them more insight on what they could be doing. Next, they need to integrate more stores inside of Targets. Now, obviously, you see right now they have the Starbucks that are inside of Targets. I think that's really good, but I think there's more room there they can grow with that. If Target potentially looked at doing a really high margin kind of healthy foods or, premium shop and grocery experience, I think that could be beneficial for them. Target, if they want to compete with Amazon, they need to become like an all-in-one place to go in real life. Right now, you see a lot of the stuff that I'm focusing on is building a really premium experience inside the stores, and that's going to be their only way to continue to compete with Amazon. Obviously, the e-commerce is always going to be there for Target, but Amazon is just completely outdoing everybody on that. Maybe look at trendy restaurants that a lot of millennials and Gen Z are going to right now. Maybe insert a crumble cookie in there, a Chipotle, just something that would get everybody going to the Target. The Starbucks is a great idea, and I love what they've done with it, but I think there's a lot more room to go there. Next, I would conservatively expand into Canada, more specifically Ontario. Now, why Ontario, Ryan? Well, Ontario is very close to the North American border. I'm actually pretty close to there. Now, if you're going to do this, you have to do it very conservatively, and you have to have a very defined, well-defined plan. Look, if you want to see really quality growth going forward with Target, and you don't want to have to bank on getting the stock at a really attractive price, they're going to need to expand internationally somehow, and I think Canada right now is probably the best way of going around it. Now, they just had a horrible plan going into Canada in the past. I still think it can be done. They're going to have to do it very slowly, very cautiously, and have a plan. Number 7, I would, of course, continue the e-commerce investment. Now, it's kind of a uphill battle here, especially competing against Amazon. This is why I'm saying, guys, it matters where you get in with Target. This is a company that is, under a lot of pressure right now. You're going to have to continue the e-commerce investment. I actually think they're doing a good job with it right now, but there's always room for improvement. I would continue investing my company dollars into the e-commerce and growing your website, the deals, marketing, everything that goes along with that. Number 8, I would grow the Target Circle membership and invest a lot of money into bringing value for customers through that. That's basically the Target version of Amazon Prime, free same-day shipping, all that good stuff. And number 9, I would approach a more traditional Christmas marketing approach during this holiday season. Now, I think Target may have lost base with some of their conservative customers, and if you look, conservative customers are typically older and have a little bit more dough, and Target obviously benefits off those discretionary items and the wealthier spenders in their stores. So I did see that Target had like a Merry Christmas sign up or whatever, and all those people go crazy over it. So I think it would be probably smart to appeal to those people. Obviously, you want to appeal to everybody, but if you want to go towards a more traditional Christmas marketing approach, not only would it bring back those customers, but the people who enjoyed the overall 2000s aesthetic and ambiance that Target had, I think that would bring back a lot of customers. Maybe doing like a retro week in your stores or doing like throwback ideas. I think that would be a pretty good concept for Target to do. Look, nostalgia sells, and I think it's something that Target can heavily benefit off of. Maybe decorating a few of your most popular stores in the entire world and having them, as a 2000 store Target again. I think that'd be pretty cool. Something else that I didn't mention on here that I'm happy they're doing is, collaborating with artists for like exclusive vinyls and stuff. I saw they did this with Taylor Swift, and obviously she has a cult-like fan base, whether you like to admit it or not. There's just a ridiculous amount of Taylor Swift fans out there. I think, having exclusive vinyls and stuff and collaborating with artists and celebrities, this could be another giant thing for Target to do, and I'm happy that they're doing it right now. Another thing that I would also do is put your dividend growth money that they over-invested into a few years ago. If your stock price is trading low, for the love of God, please just buy back shares. It was unfortunate. Target, obviously with the whole inventory mismanagement, didn't have any free cash flow a few years ago. Like, it was rough. They are paying out most of it in the form of dividends, where to the point they actually had a negative payout ratio for a little bit. Any long-term investor, knew that wasn't a crazy issue. But if they had a little bit more of a, sustainable dividend policy, didn't hike it like 100% within the span of 2 years, and they had some money for buybacks, it would have created so much shareholder value. So I'd be a lot more, smart when it comes to your dividends. Just because you have a really great quarter doesn't mean you have to put that money into dividends. I think it's completely rational to believe that Target is going to struggle going against Amazon and Walmart. But I also think it's completely rational to think that there can be a world where Target, Amazon, and Walmart can all thrive. I think it all just really matters where you buy the stock here. If you're buying Target right now, you're betting on a recovery play. And today I outlined some of the steps that I would take if I were appointed the CEO on what I would do to revitalize Target back. If you guys enjoy this series, let me know in the comment section. I plan on doing one for Starbucks as well. For anybody wondering, I will be buying Target stock if it hits like $110 again, but right now I'm holding on to it. It's actually recovered pretty nicely back to $130. Had a pretty good week so far. Appreciate all the support recently. It's good to be back. I hope you guys have a great Christmas season. And of course, do dividend stocks, not drugs. Have a good one.